What's going on, everyone? So Mark Cuban, who is not known to, mince things, like he's very open, willing to talk about basically anything. He was on Adam's talk show and was kind of diving in and just, talking about the mistakes he's made and, Nico Harris being one of them. Like that was just a missed opportunity, right? Mark Cuban never would have traded Luka, all of that. But it also got to the conversation where he talked about his biggest miss, right? Like, what was his biggest miss? And he said, and he's actually mentioned this briefly before, but he said his biggest miss is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Which they did. They had a chance to land Giannis Antetokounmpo back in 2013 and ended up passing on it. And that was actually Mark Cuban's decision because his analytic people wanted Giannis Antetokounmpo. His team and stuff wanted to go and get Giannis Antetokounmpo, but Mark Cuban kind of overrode it. And he learned from the Luka thing, right? Like he which is good because maybe he wouldn't have went and got Luka for Dallas. Which, in hindsight, would he probably have traded that guy regardless, right? Do they keep Trae Young? I don't know. It's always fun to think of like how would this all have played out had this all happened. But nonetheless, right? You look at that situation where they landed, or where they could have landed Giannis Antetokounmpo. Mark Cuban, this is what he had to say, says his biggest miss as an owner was passing on Giannis Antetokounmpo in the 2013 draft. Per Adam's talk show, Cuban ended up overruling his fellow executives who loved Giannis and traded the pick for Lucas Nogueira and cap space. So basically traded the pick for a salary dump, right? Traded the pick just to kind of get off some cap space. But, you think back to the 2013 season, right? What the thing that kind of piques my curiosity is, what would Giannis look like today as an NBA player, right? He is explosive. He is, he's, again, one of the best players in basketball, but you would have had Dirk still. And you would have had Dirk 2 years removed from winning the championship because they won in 2011, right? So you would have had a Dirk Nowitzki who, does Giannis actually have a jumper now? Right? Imagine Giannis Antetokounmpo with a jumper. Imagine Giannis Antetokounmpo with a 3-point shot, or a patent fadeaway or something like that. Is Giannis's game completely different? Is it more well-rounded? Right? Giannis took some time, to kind of get to where you needed to go. And it obviously, development is different for every team, right? What does Giannis look like, as I mentioned, in a Mavs jersey compared to a Bucks jersey? It's possible he could also be worse, right? It is very possible he could be worse. You look at the roster back in, that 2012-2013 season. You had, basically Elton Brand, Vince Carter, Darren Collison, Jay Crowder, Jared Cunningham. Because remember, they broke and tore that team down, which was wild. Derek Fisher. You had Bernard James, Mike James, Dante Jones, Dominique Jones, Chris Kaman, Sean Marion, OJ Mayo, which that was grit and grind, post grit and grind. Anthony Morrow, Troy Murphy, Dirk Nowitzki, Brandon Wright, and Chris Wright. So you would have had. Giannis probably would have been a rotation guy, right? Again, him going to the Milwaukee Bucks allowed him to develop, blossom, and kind of grow into the Giannis Antetokounmpo that we know and love, right? He if he goes to that Dallas team, and is he able to get the time to really grow and develop? Is the expectation higher for him right out the gate than he was in Milwaukee, right? Because you look at his first season, 77 games played, 23 games started, 24.6 minutes per game, 5.4 field goal attempts. He shot 41.4% from the floor, 1.5 3-point attempts, shooting, well, it'd be nice to round up, 35% from 3-point range, shot 44% on 4 attempts from 2-point range, EFG of 46.3%, free throw shooting, 68.3% on 2.6 attempts, grabbed 4.4 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, a block, and 7 points. So basically it was a 7-4-2 1-1 guy, which is good, right? Would he have maybe moved more into a, more prominent starting role? Would he have gotten the minutes? You look at kind of year 2 is where he went to 13 points per game, with 7 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and a block, right? So he was good defensively right out the gate, kind of became that. And then, again, kind of really continued year 3, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.5 blocks, right? So he kind of got established and got going pretty quickly, right? So if that happens, what does Dallas do? Obviously, they probably are probably not in the position to get Luka, but like, what if they still were? And then you have Luka and Giannis as your foundation, right? Like, because Dallas really wanted Luka, right? Does Dallas go and trade for Luka in 2018? Right? Do they just go like, hey, like, because you would think with Giannis, you're probably not going to have as good of a pick. Does players want to go to Dallas because, with Mark Cuban, if you have Giannis and he's starting to come into his own in year like 2, 3 type thing? These are all things that are kind of just like, again, it kind of is that trickle down, like, what if factor, that what if element that is always just, it's fun to talk about. It's fun to think about. Imagine Luka and Giannis. I mean, I would be surprised if they don't have a championship by now, right? Because Luka was so good right out the gate. Imagine Luka coming in and having Giannis year 1, right? Like, I mean, you're talking Magic year 1 with Kareem, right? That'd be the closest thing you'd see to a modern Magic Kareem, right? Like, that would be ridiculous, or a modern Kobe Shaq type thing. Like that, I mean, history is probably very different had that happened if Mark Cuban. That's why sometimes it's good to listen to the people. I mean, you have those people in position, you have those people in power for a reason. You gave those people the title, and sometimes it's best to just sit back and go, okay, like, if that's what you think, all right, and then judge them according based on that pickup. But anyways, always, this is a discussion. I pass the question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.